Everybody loves a good ghost story. They've been told around campfires and sleepovers for years now. So it's no surprise that there are a shit ton of TV shows about ghosts on right now. My favorite ghost show was Unsolved Mysteries. They covered ghosts and many other things, but that show was from the 90s. What about modern ghost shows? That's what we're going to be taking a look at tonight. This is Spooky Number episode 18 of the Overstimulation Station. Game reviews and self-defacing entertainment interlacing. Just sit back and start to space out overstimulation. Band reviews, we're playing skits where I'm a chick with like attention grabbing product placement with the point I'm trying to make is the overstimulation station. Overstimulation station. Overstimulation station. Overstimulation station. Alright, before we get started, I broke these shows down into 4 categories that I'll be judging them on. The first is the intro to the show. The second is the host, if the show has a host. Third is use of special effects. And fourth is overall conveyance of the storyline. Meaning, did the show explain the story in a good enough way to get maximum scare factor without having to rely too heavily on cheap tricks like jump scares and musical stabs? Now, if you don't know what a musical stab is, it's this right here. That's a musical stab. Let's get started. My Ghost Story was a show that premiered on the Biography channel from 2010 until 2013. The show featured ghost stories told from an eyewitness's personal account. The show mainly focused on haunted locations across the United States and sometimes elsewhere.
I stuck my hand out and asked the ghost if it would take a picture with me. You can see an orb right there in his hand. Well, this orb, it has a body to it. It has mass.
A lot of people died on that ship.
The intro seems contrived. They're alluding to all the ways they're going to try to scare you without actually having much substance that is scary. The intro to this show is already telling me that they're going to rely heavily on special effects to try to scare you. The intro is chopped up with quick edits that don't last longer than 2 seconds per scene. Go ahead, count it.
My ghost story began when I started working at a haunted mansion just south of Denver, Colorado. The organization I work for has events there, so we have...
Okay, stop. The music on this show has already failed. How many times have you heard that shitty marimba music in other TV shows? It's seriously like the go-to exposition music for a reality TV show. I will kill the guy who came up with that because I've heard it so many times. No, stop. Stop it. You are not going to play that music on my show. God damn it, how many times am I gonna have to use this thing? Okay, let's continue.
Kevin has incredible equipment. Cameras, recorders, and different equipment that'll help us get some proof of some of the things that we've been feeling.
Okay, now this is another theme that you're gonna run into on these ghost shows. All these would-be paranormal investigators have their own sets of toys that they like to use to detect ghostly activity. So here's a breakdown of some of those instruments that are used. An EMF meter. This measures electromagnetic fields, particularly AC currents, which are usually man-made, such as household wiring. This is the main tool of the trade in detecting paranormal energy.
Definitely coming from the machinery.
Or man-made household appliances. Alright, up next we have a field recorder. This records sound. Oftentimes the investigators will record the atmosphere around them, and when they play it back, it's usually some kind of ghostly apparition saying something, or what they think is saying something, and they just slap subtitles down on the bottom of what they think that thing is.
We also capture this spirit voice.
So let's try that right now. I'm going to record some sound on this thing, just in the air, and play it back and see if the ghosts are trying to tell us anything. Here we go. Alright, now I just stopped it, so let's listen and hear if the ghost told us anything. Come again? Hey! If I had to guess, I'd say it was probably the guy that I just shot off camera. Whoops! Should have been playing that music. The next thing these investigators use is a night vision camera. That lets you know that they're real serious about their ghost hunting, and they're gonna find them some ghosts because all the lights are off and it's scarier. Another noteworthy instrument to mention is a tool that only the show Ghost Adventures uses, and it's called the Ovilus 5. It allows spirits to select words from a database to communicate their messages.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah.
You said Ovilus 5?
Let's have a big collective Robert Downey Jr. eye roll.
Person I was with took a picture in that room, and they captured what appears to be ghost mist or ectoplasm.
Wait a minute, excuse me, what was that?
Ghost mist or ectoplasm.
Ghost mist? I don't think I want anything called ghost mist in or around my body. And did he say ectoplasm? This motherfucker thinks he's a ghostbuster. Alright, it was at this point in the video where I was going to quote a popular phrase from the movie Ghostbusters, but I have since been informed by my lawyers here that it would be wiser to paraphrase the sentence instead of quoting it directly, because I do not want to get sued by Mr. Huey Lewis or the news or Ray Parker Jr. So, to paraphrase what I was going to say, I am not, in fact, in fear of any apparitions or ghostly activity.
We were all gathered in the parlor, and I felt something clearly bump my leg.
And cue the unneeded sound effect.
Pointed my camera down and took a picture. Inside that picture, there's some strange anomaly. What was unique about the picture was it was sort of brown in discoloration. Typically, in ghost photographs, we either get black anomalies or white anomalies. That was the first time I saw anything that was brown.
What? You've got to be shitting me, dude. That's your finger, you dumbass. And it's called being an amateur photographer and blocking the lens. But no, you know what? I take that back. Because all ghost lives matter. In this next scene, this team of wishful thinkers talk about how they recorded the sound of a pool ball breaking in the billiard room by Colonel Mustard with the lead pipe. No, just kidding. But honestly, this is the evidence that they have of said pool ball breaking. What the hell is that? You can't even tell what that is. This is what I was telling you about earlier with the field recorder. By this time in the show, the ghost investigator felt a supposed tug on the back of his shirt and posed as if he was at Disneyland with his nephew. Oh, buddy, looks like you got some ghost mist on your hand there. Clearly that ghost is kind of lonely. Oh my God, I swear I have not edited or altered this footage in any way. The show actually zooms in on this guy's hand while playing that melodramatic music. Yeah, the only anomaly I see here is a grown man still rocking a fanny pack. Alright, so my final thoughts on my ghost story is, it's awful. Just awful. They rely on every editing trick and special effect in the book to try to make this show scary, but it's not. It is not a scary show. It is stale and formulaic. Reality TV show cliches are the only thing that's haunting this show. Maybe it fooled some people into watching, but the diehard fans of this genre were not fooled. And as far as conveyance of the story, horrible. You got an old-ass house that people died in a long time ago, and now they're haunting it. Wake me up when something interesting happens. If I was to rate this show on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being unsolved mysteries, this show gets a 1. There is nothing redeemable about this series. Ghost Adventures is an American TV series about the paranormal that premiered in 2008 on the Travel Channel. The program follows host/narrator/part-time frat douche Zach Baggins and his cohorts as they investigate locations that are supposedly haunted. The intro to this show looks like a Marilyn Manson music video, and they're not really trying to tease you with upcoming clips from the show as much as just going for straight shock value. Host Zach Baggins tries to sound as cool as a nerd of his caliber can, but the intro just ends up sounding forced as all hell. In this episode, they talk about the Nevada State Prison and how it was shut down in 2012. The inmates and guards claim that the prison was haunted. In fact, guards claim that demons continue to haunt them from their time working in the prison. I gotta say, these are some pretty brutal reenactments. And this show is rated PG. What the fuck? Apparently this prison used a cave that was known as the Hole. That's pretty terrifying. And apparently, as the investigators explore this cave, the host gets to wear an industrial-sized gas mask, but it wasn't in the budget for anyone else. Sorry. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, this is a convenient little trick that these ghost hunting shows like to use. Act like you're recording something, and when you play it back, make up anything you want, and as long as you put words in there on the screen, it must be true. Listen to this shit again and tell me if it sounds like anything.
Are you afraid?
Now, I'm not here to debunk these shows because I honestly do believe in paranormal activity, but come on. That's just bullshit.
That's where you showered, like 100 men at a time. Very dangerous because of the steam. You couldn't see nothing. And I went in there one time to take a leak.
Ha! I knew I wasn't the only one that preferred urinating in the shower. And I just said that out loud already. Zach Baggins is not a horrible host, but he's definitely far from perfect.
You said was extremely violent.
Damn,
it's not me.
Dude.
Cool is this? Is to walk out into pitch blackness in a prison yard that just shut down a few years ago. What I recommend is, I think it's really, really, really good idea for you to get your house completely blessed.
Okay.
By a priest.
Okay.
And just see how that goes.
Now, Ghost Adventures is definitely a few cuts above my ghost story. Whether these people actually saw a ghost or not is kind of besides the point for me. It's always super interesting to see abandoned jailhouses and haunted caves. Zach Baggins as a narrator slash host is pretty good, although he can kind of give off that douchey vibe sometimes. But he's a modern man for a modern ghost show, so what do you want? As far as special effects go, besides the intro, they really don't rely on those a lot for this. They get their scares by actually showing you the jail cells where people were murdered. They let the witnesses tell you their eerie encounters. They do a good job of putting you in that world. As far as conveyance of the story, it was really good. I think this story still could have scared the shit out of me even if it was told around a campfire without any special effects or anything. An abandoned prison? I mean, come on. There's so many freaky, fucked up situations that could have happened in a place like that. I'd give this show 5.5 out of 10 stars if I had to rate it. Ghost Hunters premiered on the Sci-Fi Channel in 2004. The show features paranormal investigators Jason Hawes and Grant Wilson as they investigate places that are reported to be haunted. The show got its start when Jason and Grant, who worked for Roto-Rooter by day, would investigate locations at night. Huh. Apparently they still work for Roto-Rooter too. What? That's what I call sticking to your roots. And it was at that point that Josh truly realized the weight of his mistakes in life. He had dropped out of college for this? Just look at him. How pathetic. All these show intros are starting to blend together to me, honestly. This intro is literally just like my ghost story and kind of like Ghost Adventures minus the ghoulish imagery. I guess the only exception is these guys still work for Roto-Rooter. Now that was a gimmick I could have explored in my Mario episode.
I just got something touched on my back.
Ghost Hunters is very similar to the previous two shows that I just talked about. If you haven't started to notice, there is a common formula in these kind of shows. First, there is some kind of backstory to the location being investigated. Second, some kind of caretaker or former employee explains what kind of paranormal activity is occurring. Third, the team of investigators try to milk the location for all it's worth, whether that involves recording ghostly audio or capturing creepy phenomena on camera.
Since Jacob is so friendly with you, if you could maybe tell him what we're trying to do to try to get him to speak with us.
At the end, all the data is analyzed and a determination is made. And of course, it wouldn't make for very good TV for the investigators to conclude said location is not haunted, so 9 times out of 10, they always conveniently find something. Ghost Hunters doesn't use as much gimmickry as my ghost story, but they don't seem to have that creepy edge that Ghost Adventures had. This is a very middle-of-the-road ghost show. In fact, in this particular episode, nothing happens. Seriously, I wasted an hour of my life or better watching and taking notes for this show, and nothing fucking happened! On this episode, nothing happens. They have some little boy who's reporting that he's interacting with ghostly phenomena, and then, for the rest of the 42 minutes, a whole lot of dicking around in a yacht club.
Susan asked us to come out here. Susan and Hunter. We know you know Hunter. He's a really good friend of yours, right?
Yeah, no, it's cool. Come on out, Ghost. We just want to talk to you. We're not gonna hurt you. We just want to ask you some questions. No big deal. You know, whatever. Shoot the shit. Seriously, there's even a guy that I wrote in my notes who is on this show that I just wrote in as Docile Voice Man because his voice is so fucking soothing that I think I might start using him as a nighttime sleep aid.
We're up in the attic of the yacht club, and this is an area where Hunter has communicated with Jacob fairly often. So we really wanted to see if bringing Hunter with us would allow Jacob to feel more comfortable with us and step forward and communicate. Very good possibility that Jacob may be feeling comfortable being up on the balcony where you've interacted with him before. He could possibly be keeping his distance a little bit from us.
I'm putting my hand down my pants and pulling out handfuls of wasps.
Wait, what?
I'm putting my hand down my pants and pulling out handfuls of wasps.
I think this guy might be a little special. Just a little bit.
And they're stinging my hand as I pull them out of my crotch.
This show was pretty damn lackluster. It didn't quite have the edginess that Ghost Adventures had, yet it didn't go overboard on the annoying CG and music stabs that My Ghost Story did. Maybe this is what a ghost hunting show is supposed to look like. Sometimes you find something weird, sometimes you find nothing at all. The hosts were sleep-inducing. I might start using this show as a new white noise machine. I rate this show 2 out of 10 just because they didn't use a bunch of that CG and special effects that My Ghost Story relied on. Paranormal Witness is an American paranormal documentary TV series that also ran on the Sci-Fi Channel starting in 2011. The intro to this show is just a big teaser of events that happen later on in the episode. There isn't really a theme song or official opening sequence. It's pretty weak, but I can already tell this is a different kind of ghost show. Paranormal Witness is the kind of ghost show that is 95% reenactment, with the other 5% being the eyewitnesses who are interviewed in between shots to move the story along. There is no quote-unquote ghost hunting to speak of, and thank God! Oh, I'm sorry. Did I just let my true feelings towards ghost hunting shows come out just then? My bad. Paranormal Witness is obviously a scripted show, so there is a higher budget to work with, and you can definitely tell. The reenactments have a very cinematic feel to them. What adds to the enjoyment of the show is the eyewitnesses explaining in their own words what happened. Then you get to watch the events unfold in all the creepiness and atmosphere that you could ever want in a show like this. The look of this show is very foreboding. A lot of grays and muted color palettes are used to convey that these people are fucked. Practical effects are used to convey creepiness whenever possible.
He doesn't say anything, he's just watching me.
The jump scares are used exactly how they're supposed to be used. Few and far between. But when they are used... Holy shit, what was that? Oh, that was legitimately scary. So much like My Ghost Story, Paranormal Witness does not have a steady host because the people who experience the paranormal activity are the ones who are narrating the story and moving the story along. But that's about the only similarities these two shows have to one another. Paranormal Witness, for my money, is the highest quality ghost show out now that you're going to find. The atmosphere is right. The jump scares are thrown in at the perfect times for maximum scare factor. The stories stand up in their own right as just fantastic. The music is great. This is a great modern day ghost show. The only thing that this show is missing is a brooding narrator to move the story along. But hey, I think this stands to be a great successor to Unsolved Mysteries. And I don't say that lightly. Go check this show out. I give it a 7 out of 10. A Haunting is an American paranormal anthology TV series that first aired on the Discovery Channel in 2005. The show depicts eyewitnesses' accounts of possession, exorcism, and ghostly encounters.
There is
The intro is okay. Again, all these intros are starting to run together to me. This intro is similar to Ghost Adventures in that it uses ghoulish imagery along with clips that tease the show. However, this show, unlike all the others, actually has a solid narrator that moves the story along. That's a big deal if you're doing a show that is supposed to be scary. Just think of Robert Stack's role in Unsolved Mysteries. Would that show have been anywhere near as good without him? So much like Paranormal Witness, A Haunting relies mainly on reenactments of true events, with occasional clips of the eyewitnesses being thrown in to further the story along. The eyewitnesses aren't as critical to this show though, seeing as they have a narrator sharing the job. A Haunting doesn't quite have the same cinematic quality as Paranormal Witness, but that doesn't really bother me. I also noticed that the colors are more vibrant and the music is much more cheery at the beginning of the show. Then when things start to take a turn for the worse, the atmosphere darkens. This is obviously an attempt to strike a stark contrast from when things are normal to when shit hits the fan. The acting can be a little suspect sometimes.
The biggest, most beautiful dollhouse ever. It's all ours, even the trees?
Enough! I want out of this house! I want out of this house!
And the special effects aren't perfect. No show is going to be perfect though. I mean, for fuck's sake, if you can honestly tell me that Unsolved Mysteries' god-awful 90s special effects didn't take you out of the show just a little bit, then I would call you a liar. The witnesses aren't interviewed to move the story along as much as Paranormal Witness. It's a lot more reenactments, so they probably embellished the storyline quite a bit, as evidenced by the dramatic acting parts.
I'm going to die. You are going to hell.
Why do you torment this family? You want somebody, come after me!
A Haunting is just as good as I remembered it. That's right. This is one of the only shows on the list that I actually watched back when it was on TV. The fact that they had a good narrator was pretty big for me. A creepy narration can really help put things in perspective, and it can give you details on eyewitnesses and events that you might not normally get otherwise. Really though, Paranormal Witness and A Haunting aren't that different from each other. They both rely heavily on reenactments, they both interview eyewitnesses to help move the story along, and they both utilize special effects and editing tricks to achieve maximum scare factor. A Haunting soundtrack relies a little too much on the conventional sound stabs that the other shows use, and that's a little annoying, but when they get so much other stuff right, it doesn't bother me nearly as much. This is also a great ghost show, and I'd have to give it the same rating as a Paranormal Witness, 7 out of 10. Alright guys, that was episode 18. I want to thank everybody for watching. Oh no, not you again. You're the marimba guy. I told you I didn't want that shitty music on my video. Don't do it. Don't do it. Well, I died. Did I learn a lesson? Yes. You can't just go shooting people just because you don't like their shitty marimba music that they add in reality TV shows. Another big lesson for me today, confirm the kill. That person was not dead. I thought they were. They came back seeking vengeance, and their vengeance was swift. So yeah, I'm dead. It's not so bad, I guess. Well, needless to say, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to subscribe and share and all that, and hope everybody has a spooky Halloween. And I will see you guys as soon as I get some shaman together and resurrect myself. So, enjoy the rest of your night. Have a spooktacular Halloween.